Mutual Friends podcast. I'm glad you're here. I hope you're doing well today. I always want to say your name is Jen Loren.
Loren. Oh, I
Jen
love
Loren.
that.
I know it's like Jen Lauren, but we've got a wonderful guest. She's been on the pod before, but now we're in person.
I know.
And I cannot believe this is our first time being in person together.
I know.
That doesn't make any sense because we've been friends for at least 2 years now.
I feel like that's how it goes with internet friends. Yeah. Like I'm about to get coffee with an internet friend this week who I've been friends with for maybe 2 years. And we realized today that it's going to be our first time meeting and it's the most bizarre dynamic ever.
Yeah.
But I love it.
I didn't realize it until you came in. You're like, oh my God, we've never met in person. I was like, what?
Because when I realized I was seeing you in the flesh and you were taller than I remembered, I was like, oh, we've never met.
Oh my God, I'm tall. I'm 5'4", but I am wearing my boots.
I'm just very short.
How tall are you?
Under 5'2". I'm like 5'2".
Okay.
So like an average size person is tall to me.
It is really jarring seeing somebody in person that you've only like seen online and you're like, what? Somebody said I gave short girl energy. And I was
maybe
like,
that's what it is.
Maybe.
Like, it's not that you were really tall, just I expected
the energy
shorter.
Of a short person.
Yeah.
I kind of want to know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know what it means either.
But I'm like, okay, like, I'll take it. We've got a lot to cover. Like, I want to, like, go, like, breeze through the stories. Even though they're very good, but we cannot get distracted. Yeah. Breeze through the stories, and then we've got so much to talk about. Okay. So let's get into the group chat, all the things. So first of all, as we know, Taylor Swift, Time Person of the Year. I found this to not be surprising, but still inspirational. And the article is so good. So good. Oh, do you have a take?
No, I just felt it was surprising because I feel like media outlets are never on the right side of history. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh my God, yeah.
Like, Sexiest Man Alive is never the most relevant sexiest man alive. Yeah. So I just was shocked that she got it or that, like, her team would agree to it. I just feel like she's above everything.
Yeah.
So I was just shocked that she was put in this category. Not shocked because it's well-deserved, but shocked because, like, I used to work in PR, and just from, like, an outsider looking in, I feel like her team rarely does standard PR. Yeah. So I was just shocked that she was like, that I want to do. Like, I'm sure she's turned down, like, the cover of Forbes and, like, all of these other things. So I was just
That's
shocked.
a good point.
Yeah.
I think of this as, like, from an idiot's point of view, and I take it all at face value, and I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. But I did find the photo shoot kind of
see, I didn't see the photos.
Let me see.
You want to give me a little sneak?
Yeah, let me show you because they're just, I don't know.
But, like, iconic, well-deserved. I was just shocked that something was actually accurate for once and that she did the whole photo shoot and the whole thing.
Look at this run through the 3 pictures, and then she's posted like a couple of them. But, like,
where did she find the time for this photo shoot, by the way?
Also, yes, I don't know. But her interview is so...
Oh, I don't like this one.
I don't like that one.
I don't like the muscle shot.
No, I don't like the direction.
This I like because the guitar should be involved.
Yes. Yeah.
Why are we going goth muscle man vibes?
It's very like Morticia Addams.
I don't know what that is.
Wednesday Addams' mom.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. It's just very dark and pale.
Oh, God, her cat around her neck.
That was, like, very on brand.
This, I feel... great. Yeah. Simple. She's in her little bedazzled top. The one I'm not liking is the muscles, but, you know, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah. I think for, like, Time Person of the Year, of course, it's not going to be, like, her bejeweled outfit or anything. But everything else has been so colorful, and the bracelets and the girly girls and whatever. And I realized this is, like, you know, people do, like, you know, Man of the Year and that kind of stuff. Like, this is a different corner of media. But I'm like, I don't know. I kind of want the girly girl. Like,
agreed. I'm sure there's a reasoning behind it. Yeah. Like, I'm sure they had this whole creative brainstorming concept that we just don't understand. But then again, like, why do it if no one's going to understand it?
That fair. I'm like, I love creativity and being different, but also give me what I want.
Yeah, give me Taylor Swift
in my hand.
Because this ain't it.
This ain't it. I did love so the Time editor-in-chief said a really cool, they talked about the decision of why Taylor Swift. I don't think we have to ask why, but I did appreciate the quote. Okay. So Sam Jacobs, he said, in a divided world where too many institutions are failing, Taylor Swift found a way to transcend borders and be a source of light. No one else on the planet today can move so many people so well. Achieving this feat is something we often chalk up to the alignments of planets and fates, but giving too much credit to the stars ignores her skill and her power.
Okay, I love that.
Beautifully said.
Because it could have just been like, you know, she's been carrying the economy on her back. Yeah. Everyone cares more more about her than football. Like, it could have just been self-explanatory.
Yeah. It was deep. I was like, oh, you have a deep understanding of the movement of this person.
Yes.
Which I
appreciate
so
that
appreciate.
as well.
I appreciate that so much. Next.
So thank you to Time Magazine.
Thank you to Time Magazine for recognizing our queen. Next, I was wondering if I was going to cover this, and I am. I'm in every single article. You know my Panera era.
Yeah.
You're aware of the Panera era.
Yeah.
You're aware that somebody died
No.
from the lemonade.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Okay. The Panera charged lemonade. I made a video about, like, I accidentally drank 1,000 milligrams of caffeine from the Panera charged lemonade more than once.
I remember that.
Yes. So about a month ago, maybe a little over a month ago, there was a girl that died from drinking them. I believe she had a heart condition. She was young. She was like 26. I mean, like my age. And was her name Sarah? Her name might have been Sarah. I'm not fucking joking. Like, and so my Panera video started, surfacing again. And I'm mentioned in most of the articles. I get sent them often. I'm on the news.
They're like, this is the Sarah that
lived. Yeah. The girl who
Sarah,
lived.
Oh no. I was going to say Sarah walked so she could, never mind.
No.
Doesn't apply here.
Doesn't apply here. No, horrible. Like horrible.
Why?
Panera is not in a good place. And this week, Panera charged lemonade linked to second death in a new lawsuit. There's another person who died.
Are they still serving supercharged lemonade?
Okay, let's look at this. So according to the New York Times, died after drinking 3. Why did they say a Florida man? I don't think you could say Florida man anymore.
And not think like creepy
like
serial killer.
Yeah. A Florida man died after drinking 3 servings of a heavily caffeinated beverage from Panera Bread, according to a lawsuit filed against the company on Monday. It is the second lawsuit linking the beverage charged lemonade to a death. Dennis Brown, 46, died in October after suffering a cardiac event. Oh, it was in October. Interesting. While walking home from a Panera Bread in Fleming Island, Florida, according to the wrongful death lawsuit, which was filed by Mr. Brown's mother, sister, and brother in Superior Court in Delaware. In a statement on Tuesday, Panera said it stands firmly by the safety of our products. Panera expresses our deep sympathy for Mr. Brown's family. Based on our investigation, we believe his unfortunate passing was not caused by one of the company products. We view this lawsuit, which was filed by the same law firm as a previous claim, to be equally without merit. Sending prayers and condolences.
So the question is like coincidence or not?
Yeah.
I think coincidence.
I think maybe coincidence. But yeah. So he drank 3 servings. These are how much caffeine in one charged lemonade?
Is it like a cup of coffee? Because then it's like 225 milligrams.
Espresso. Yeah. Charged lemonade caffeine. It is 260 milligrams.
That's more than a cup of coffee.
Correct. Large size is 390.
Okay, but then like, can't tell you how many times I've had like 4 coffees in a day and I didn't die.
Yeah. And but people, and I totally understand. I understand both sides. People are like, it's labeled, and I'm like, yes, but I was one of those dumb idiot pants that looked at it and I saw lemonade, like it doesn't. You don't expect that to have caffeine. It's not labeled. Doesn't look like an energy drink. I'm not drinking 4 Celsiuses. Like I realized like not to do that. But I used to work like in Panera's. Like I would do like the laptop work there. And I would do free refills for like the Unlimited Sip Club. And so I'd sit there. I was sitting there for, hours and hours and hours. And this lemonade was the mango yuzu was my favorite. So I used to go back and forth. And I drank like 5 to 7. I probably did this at least 4 times.
But that doesn't kill you unless you have a severe underlying condition, in which case maybe be more careful reading labels.
Yeah.
Not to like gaslight this Florida man.
No,
I think it might be a coincidence.
Yeah.
Also, I think if they kept it on the market.
Yeah, some people are like bringing them behind the counter. I no longer drink them. The caffeine content, I'm like, oh, I can like handle that myself. I used to like water them down, but the sugar content is atrocious.
This just feels unnecessary.
It is. Yeah. There was a while though. It was really bad. I was a really early gym girly, and I would go at like 5:30. And I had the Unlimited Sip Club. And so I would drive to the gym, go get a lemonade on the way to the gym, drink it at the gym, come back and get one for the day.
That screams cramps to me. That's all I'm thinking.
Cramps. It was that was not a good time in my life. Now I'm trying. Well, I stopped having caffeine in the morning. I kind of don't love it. Like, it's just, I'm like, this isn't
I need
great.
caffeine
I need
to
like
work out.
A clean caffeine, and I don't like coffee. So I'm trying to figure out an alternative at home.
Oh, e-Boost.
eBoost.
eBoost is a use code Jen Lauren.
You of course, I'm like, anybody who would have the recommendation, it would be Jen. Like,
it actually is healthier than Celsius. It's green tea extract. So
I wanted I was thinking it was just literally getting green tea.
Well, it's green tea, but then there's also like electrolytes and like vitamins and shit in it, and it's not. There's no chemicals in it, so you might want to try that. Also, you could just do like matcha water.
I could do, something like that. I was doing Mio Energy for a second, like this work. But then my friend, who's a mom, like scared me about Red Dye 40. And I was like, fuck.
See, eBoost is like no coloring, no anything. And you still get that like energy drink can vibe. Yeah. Because I find it's about the vibe. Like I am holding my coffee in hand, not because I need caffeine, but because like I don't podcast without my iced coffee. So if you are like a can girly on the way to the gym, like blast some music, drink the can, try eBoost. Ginger lime flavor is my favorite.
Okay. I'm going to have to try that. So yes, another person died. I'm very interested how Panera is going to move out of this. For anybody who's wondering, yes, me and Panera still have beef. And no, I think now really did the nail in the coffin that they won't work with me.
Literally.
Will not work
Literally
with me.
the nail in the coffin.
Yeah. Oh, that was bad warning.
Yeah.
Shit.
Also, like, do yourself a favor and just take it off the market.
I think at this point, like, there's not really, there's no reason to have it. There's not coming back. Yeah, no. Okay, last thing. This caught my attention it's like a very random story. This is also morbid. Did not mean to have the morbid stories. My bad. Teen nearly dies collecting seashells for his niece after a venomous octopus crawls into his hand.
See, this is hard for me that you chose so many death stories because my natural state is like, I just want to keep joking about this. And it feels wrong.
This person didn't die, so almost died.
Okay.
So we're good. Yeah, we've moved past the Panera Charged Lemonade.
Okay, didn't die. Great.
Yeah, did not die. So we're solid there with the humor. We can really
I don't know. I wouldn't want them to hear this. This is worse.
I don't know. I think they'd be into the humor. They're a teenager. They're with it. Okay.
So what happened?
So a teenager from Australia nearly died after being bitten. Here's what got me. Bitten by a small but extremely venomous sea creature, octopus. Did you know you could
octopus?
Did you know you could get bitten by an octopus?
No, because did you see the Octopus Teacher documentary?
No.
Oh my God, you have to watch it. Also, like, I don't really get high, but I was high when I watched it. 10 out of 10 experience.
10 out of 10. Highly recommend.
This man literally follows an octopus for a year. Like, it's his full job. He goes underwater, like, with his camera.
Okay.
And then by the end of it, like, this octopus is basically, there's like a conspiracy theory that they were in love. And the octopus is like attached to this man by the end of it. He didn't get bit.
And he didn't get bit.
They were like lovers. So anyway,
I don't think there was the same vibe with this octopus. Also, look at the picture of this octopus. Like,
gorgeous.
It's a beautiful octopus. But yeah, he found a shell. Here's what gets me: pocketed it, and then when he went to reach out into his pocket to hand it to his niece, it bit him. So it almost hit the niece. That was a big thing. Like when he was treated, he was fine. Was treated for nearly 6 hours.
Wait. This is super random. You definitely didn't see it, but there was a TikTok video. Don't ask me why this came on my For You page. An octopus was literally stuck on this man's face, and the wife is like taking video while the doctor in the hospital is like taking this octopus off his face.
Oh my God.
Do octopuses be out here?
They'd be out here doing
fucking
something.
Shit up.
I think they're pissed. Like the ocean.
They're pissed about the documentary.
Oh my God. It's them and the killer whales. The orcas, they said, octopus, we need an alliance. Get these people out of here.
But at least killer whale, like watch out, killer.
Yeah, but they're getting wild about bashing boats and stuff.
You know what? Maybe it's the humans' fault because they saw the Octopus Teacher documentary. It looks like octopus are really friendly, and then they went to do their own little Octopus Teacher moment, and they get bit.
I could not imagine reaching into your pocket for a shell and an octopus comes out. I could not imagine. Yeah, but I read that and I was educated that you could actually get bit by an octopus. I was like, I know that usually we do pop culture, but I was like, but we have to talk about this.
No, I love these.
Yeah. Okay, so done with that. I want to hear about you. You just got engaged. You started working for your media.
I ran a half marathon.
You ran a half marathon. Literally, she's like, I ran a half marathon.
Because the past 3 weeks of my life have been
insane.
I'm that friend that if you had asked me the last few years, oh, what's new? I'm always literally nothing, same old. Let's talk about you.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden this month, it's everything in my life has changed within minutes.
Yeah.
And it's really, really insane. Dear Media, I've been at for a year.
Yeah.
But still.
Oh my God, it's been a year?
Yeah.
I remember when you posted that you were first started working for them and I was like.
It was last November.
Oh my God, I'm going to cry. It was amazing.
It's truly been crazy. That was a wild time because I went from like going part-time with my PR to fully leaving PR to working at a workout studio, trying to make it on YouTube and like podcasting and all the things, to just putting way too much pressure on social media because of it. And then I found this like happy medium where I'm like, what if I go back into a full-time job for some stability financially, take the pressure off my social media, find the fun in that again as like a creative outlet. But I make sure that whatever full-time job I do is something that can actually benefit me in my future. And like I learn from people I actually want to be. So like I found in PR, it was like, I don't want to be the head of a PR agency. Do you know what I mean? Like, what am I working towards here?
Exactly.
I learned a lot, but in terms of a future, I was just like, this is a waste of my time.
This is what I want to grow to, so why am I here?
Where now, I'm literally working for my like number one podcast host. Yeah. Like I was with Lauren 2 days ago doing freelance work for her too.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, I'm actually gaining something from this and off providing value and learning through my own repetition and like honing in on my own editing skills, and I'm learning, and it's just been literally perfect. But it's been the craziest week of my life this week because it's just been, I started taking on freelance too, and now I have to like reevaluate. But
you and me are the same. Joseph's like, honey, why do you have like a million jobs? And you always have. I'm like, I don't know. Like in college, I was really bad at my most. At my least, I had 2. At my most, I had, I think, 5 jobs in college. And I just like kept taking like freelance stuff. And then be like, somebody like, oh, will you help me with this? I'm like, yeah. And I would just like do everything. And then I go to this point, I'm like, I'm sad. I have to like reshuffle around.
Right. Which is why I went back to full time anyway.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm going to the workout studio at 5 a.m. and then I'm filming a YouTube video and then I have freelance work. It's like, it was all too much, and it felt like if my YouTube channel doesn't blow up like next week, like what am I going to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just...
That's a hard, like, oh my God, the anxiety of that is horrible.
Awful. And then I've been here for a year, and I found the love and in the creativity again, but my goal for 2024 is getting back to like the full production of YouTube. I needed to take a year of like just vlog, have fun with it, and then
you're still, I mean... It's not like you're like slacking. Like you're doing phenomenal work. Like your vlogs are amazing. Your YouTube channel is amazing. Saying it's a break is like quite the statement. I don't think that's quite true.
Because you know what it is. I'm still consistent, but it's not content I'm proud of. If that makes sense. Like you can be consistent and fun. And we were actually talking about this before we turned the mics on. But like I kind of started taking more of the advice when I felt like I was in that pressure cooker of stop being so strategic. You're not being yourself because there's too much strategy. And like, I just kind of felt like, okay, what if I go into a full-time job, stop trying to make it on social media and just use it as a creative, fun outlet again? But then all the strategy came out of it, but then like so did the intention and like my why and the mission. So then I wasn't proud of my content. Yeah. So now we're coming back to all of that. And the reason I love YouTube is combining my love for like production, which is not really vlogging for me. Like I love like the whole creative process of like I did this weekend, like going into a stretching studio and showing you what it's like in there and interviewing them. And it's like a whole production. And it's like combining my passion for wellness production and hosting. And I'm trying to get back to that. And I had such a clear why and mission behind my channel. And like, I think that's okay. Yeah. And I think I was told for so long from these like random TikTokers that like you shouldn't have a mission or intention or strategy. And I was like, okay, I'll just like say fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it, like whatever.
We're not doing that anymore. How I operate is based on intention and my why. And I don't think that's being too strategic. Yeah. And being organized with content is not strategic.
No. And it's I could not like working for Dear Media, working with Lauren Bostic. I'd be like, there's no way that she's so smart. And like she is so intentional. So I think that was like probably, you've got to be learning so much.
I am, even more so from my boss, who's, if you listen to the podcast, Taylor, the producer, I do mainly like I run their TikTok for the podcast, and all of their like trailers and teasers you see for new episodes, I'm making those. And he's taught me so much when it comes to editing. Yeah. And that's just on editing. And then I'm leading like strategy on TikTok, and now I'm helping Lauren freelance with content for TSE. So it's like I'm offering a lot, but I'm also learning so much. And to your point, you can't listen to that. I'm like hearing her kind of interview podcasts, TikTokers and stuff. And she's like, what was your strategy? You must have had a plan. And they're like, like this video hit it big. And like you are a testament to, I'm more similar to you, where it's like, sure, a video that you didn't anticipate hitting it big, just hit it big. But I remember your story. You said, I'm going to intentionally post 3 times a day for, you know what I mean? Like, you still had
even the people that say it wasn't like they're like, oh, I didn't have a strategy. I'm like, you may have not had an intentional strategy, but social's really easy it's that feedback loop. And so it's really, one thing does well, so you continue doing that thing. That is in fact a strategy. You may think strategy and think of like you're sitting down with a piece of paper or something. Yes. But if you have a knack for it, you will naturally get into the strategic. You'll talk to certain people, you talk about certain things. That is in fact strategy, and you'll move towards that. It's very frustrating if people are like, oh yeah, you just like really post what you want and like you do what you want and you just post whenever. And if you're having fun, like, and I'm like, yeah, absolutely. If you like, to be sustainable, you have to be having fun, but that's not all you're doing.
Also, if you have a why and people you actually want to serve or a community you want to cultivate, you have to do that intentionally. And if you think about, if we're still talking about TikTok, like Alex Earl, Jake Shane, like they could have, first of all, Alex Earl was posting Get Ready With Me's for a long ass time.
Yeah,
and then
put her
like
time in.
Jake Shane, he saw what was working and he kept doing that. Yeah. That strategy, even though he's being funny and doing stuff with friends, the amount of people who have just been funny and done something with friends and it went viral and then they just like never posted again. Yeah. They could have hit it big.
Yeah.
They
the
just
people
didn't want
that
to.
I see, like, and I'll swipe, I love looking at people's profiles. I'm like the best, like if you're looking at profile visits, like on your analytics, I am you. Like I'm the person there. Because I love, like if something goes and I just look and see what else they're doing.
I think you should be doing like analytics breakdown consultations.
That's like a huge part of I really, for myself, I think for myself, I will take it as personal judgment and I haven't found that balance. But like my job, that's a huge part of what I do is metrics. And I'm, looking at data analytics and aggregated data and like relationships between like, I was in a strategy meeting yesterday and my brain was like exploding. Yeah. Like I love looking at this morning I saw these, it was awesome. It was a podcast on TikTok. They have like 500 followers. A wonderful production though. Like I didn't go and look at what else they were doing, but they, it was smaller following on TikTok, but they had this video go like 500,000 views. And then there are other videos that aren't doing as well. And I see them like, oh, like, and their production was phenomenal. But yeah, you see like a viral video and then you look over and I love that it's a normal person, but then there is that balance where I see somebody and I'm like, oh, you could really like, there's a consistency in your content. You could be doing this more and you could capitalize on that a little bit if you want to. You don't necessarily want to. You might be like sick and then you go on with your day.
100%. But I also think there is a balance, which I think you have naturally found. And I definitely think I have found is there are probably people who get too caught up in the strategy that they're then like not even showing their personality because it's just like robotic.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're sticking to a plan. Yep. This is what's doing well. They're mimicking other people. Like I do think a lot of that advice is so valuable. Be authentic, know who you're talking to, engage with your community. Like all of that is so valuable. But pairing that with intention and some strategy, I feel like that's where you kind of hit gold. And I think it takes a certain type of person.
I do think it takes a certain type of person. This is where I'd be interested to hear your PR takes because like I think there is like, sure, there's strategy and logistics. When do you post? How do you post? What do you post? Etc. But then there's also strategy in realizing the persona that you are online or how people perceive you, what you're going to lean into with your personality. I think that I don't want to say like not anybody can do it. Anybody can do it, but there is a certain type of person that like thrives by translating. It's almost like a language. You're translating like your personality through a camera. Mm-hmm. And that takes a lot of skill. And some people have that a lot more naturally than others. Like I can't shut my fucking mouth and I have no filter. And I don't know, there's something that I didn't train myself on. And I will say like, that's something I'm very aware of. That part went naturally for me. Other things did not. But there is like a certain type of person and a strategy behind realizing that person and realizing what that translation looks like between like what you're going to share, how it gets to the camera, how it gets to the other person, and how you're making that connection through a screen. But if you do it, like it's the best feeling in the world for both. Like it's great for the viewer. And then I'm an extrovert and I realize it's a little bit different online, but knowing that, you know, I've got almost 700,000 like friends, it's just like the best. Like I love people.
That's what we were saying though, that it feels like we've met before.
Yeah.
So if you treat who you're talking to like that, even though you're not directly seeing them, it does translate, and it doesn't always come naturally, but like we're saying, you need that plus intention. What are, like, I like to think of it as like the 3 content pillars, and like if I'm ever in a rut, it's like, okay, what are the 3 pillars? Who am I trying to reach? What are their pain points? What are they probably struggling with today that I'm struggling with? Whatever it is. Yeah. And then like immediately I think of something. And I think this is all kind of related to TikTok, but YouTube's a whole other beast. It's literally a production. And then podcasting is also a totally different platform.
Podcasting is very different. Podcasting is still something that I like. I mean, I don't think I've cracked it. I don't know if anybody really has. And it's so scary because it's like every day gets more saturated and you're like, fuck, like I can't keep up. Podcasting is a whole nother thing. And the way that Alex Cooper is changing what that looks like for Alex Earl and Madeline Argy.
I don't know her name, but I know who you're talking about. I love
her. The way that they do podcasting, I'm like, oh, this is so interesting. Like they carry around these kits and they will fucking lounge wherever and start talking. I'm like,
but it's also like, know your lane, know your format, because I don't think everyone needs to be everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard because we all want to mimic everyone, or we see something working and we're like, that's the thing.
Yep.
But I kind of have to reel myself in a lot of the time. And I wish I didn't equally love YouTube and podcasting so much, because those are the 2 things where it's almost like just pick one.
Yeah. Oh my God. They're the highest production and the highest amount of work.
Especially now. Like podcasts, I think were so easy before. I actually started before like people were posting the long videos. Yeah. It was so easy.
Yeah.
Just, you don't even have to edit a podcast if you don't want to. Like, just post the audio of the conversation, record it in a bun. We wouldn't have to be sitting here right now.
Yeah,
like,
with video and everything. Now it's not
production.
even, it's almost not worth starting a podcast if you're not going to have video.
And how I was explaining this to Natalie when I was on Natalie Barbie, her podcast the other week, was like,
we talked about you when she was on mine. Yeah. Or like right before. Because of course we both know you, so we were just telling about you and how great you are.
Oh my God, thanks. Kind of she's like, we were talking shit, but
we hate you.
But I was talking to her about how you can have your personal brand, right? So Jen Lauren, I have my TikTok, my Instagram, my YouTube. That's the whole Jen Lauren thing, right? And then there's Dare to Self-Care podcast. I have the Instagram, the YouTube, the podcast, the TikTok. So it's 2 completely separate entities. So when you're taking on a podcast, it's something you don't realize at first.
Yeah.
Is a totally separate...
It's its own business.
Mm-hmm. Even if you're not making money, even if you're not doing brand deals.
You have to run it like it is.
Yes. And that's fine if you don't have your personal brand and your personal whatever. If like it's literally just Call Her Daddy. Like she's not making Alex Cooper YouTube, Alex Cooper TikTok. You know what I mean? It's all Call Her Daddy.
Yeah.
Because it's that much work, one brand.
Yeah, 100%. It's so much. And like, I totally agree that you have to really, I mean, I have to remind myself daily, like where my lanes are, what I'm focusing on. I like Instagram. I can't think about it that.
Same.
I can't think about it. I'm like, I know I'm not right now, like an Instagram person.
Oh, we're similar.
And but it's, I love Instagram people. Like I think the Instagram influencers, like I really admire the work they do. I think the photography and how they show outfits. And I think like, obviously when you're in it, you see much more, like you're able to identify a lot of the work behind one photo and realize the artistic ability that comes behind that, the creativity, the inspiration, like all that kind of stuff. And so I look at it, I'm like, oh my God, I find it fascinating and so talented. There's going to be a day when I get to focus on that. And right now I can't.
And I'm sure you've been compelled to like repost all your TikToks to Reels.
Yeah. And that's we do, not everything, but I do my like reposting. And that's been like the views are good. The conversion for me is not great. The conversion to followers, it's okay. Like, I say it's not good in a year-ish, maybe less than a year. I'm at like 20K or something. And to me, I'm like, oh my God, that's a million.
A lot of people also might have like came from TikTok and searched you on Instagram.
That flow is not that basically doesn't exist. The flow from TikTok to Instagram does not exist.
And I've heard from someone at an influencer agency that they'll look at that to see how engaged people's audiences really are. So like if you have 1 million on TikTok and like 2,000 on Instagram, they're like, okay, you probably had a viral video and like like you don't actually have an engaged community.
Yeah.
So I feel like as long as you have like over 10K.
I think once you have over 10K, then there is sort of a foundation of like, it's honestly like, like street cred. Yeah. And then you can look at like engagement rate and all that kind of stuff.
It's like my final piece that I'm missing is like I have the YouTube, the TikTok. I'm like, I hate Instagram.
Oh my God, I hate it. Like, I got there with Reels. I had to play around with if I wanted it on my profile or not, and that kind of stuff. But I got to the 20K with Reels. I'll just kind of keep going with slow growth with that.
Are you reposting every TikTok or just the ones that are kind of reelsy? Do you know what I mean?
No, I know exactly what you mean. Not every one, and it really comes down to length.
The time.
Like,
yep.
Yeah, the time. And we'll cut down some if I'm like, it's 90 seconds. If I'm at like 110 seconds, then we'll cut it down a little bit to what we need. But the reposting has been as like the most efficient. It's been the easiest. If I do like an outfit thing, I'll do it straight to Instagram, but that's very, very rare. Again, that's like, you can always be doing more. That's one thing that I have in my back pocket. I'm like, when I am taking my gas off the pedal over here, then we're going to come a lot more over here with outfits and things, because I do get asked about that in outfit videos. I do like it. It's just not where I can really put my time right now.
See, intention.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like we don't have to be, because I find I get stuck in this a lot, which I'm sure you can relate to. I feel like sometimes I'm giving 25% to everything and 100% to nothing. Yeah. So it's like I'm setting an intention for next year to like prioritize YouTube. And unfortunately, that might mean pulling back in other areas, and that could be really hard for multi-passionate people.
Oh my God, extremely hard. Yeah. The only reason that I was able to even put work into the other ones is because like TikTok got to a place where when I felt confident with where it is, like I'm very, like I want to get to 1 million followers. I know that I have this goal. I hope so. I mean, I think I will. Like we're doing really well.
There's no time limit.
There's no, exactly. And I'm not like hustling there. So I'm like, I'm very confident with where that is. And like monetarily, that's at a very sustainable place that can thankfully sustain efforts going into like right now, YouTube and the podcast is where that money like extra, I guess, goes into. And YouTube and the podcast do not make money. And so like, I had to get one channel at a place where it can then fuel the next project. And that's what I always tell people to do. I'm like, get confident. You have to get really good on a channel, get to a place where that's monetizing itself. You feel really good and you feel not automated, but very comfortable and confident with where that is. And then build the next thing. Otherwise, you're going to try to build everything at once. And it's going to be like, crazy. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Crazy. And that's why like the reposting, I'm like, if you can do that, have that be in maintenance thing so that when you do get focused on the other channel, it will have some slow growth that have already happened and you will give yourself a baseline to then keep going. I'm
going to start using Rella also for repurposing because I feel like that will help. Not to like turn this around on you, this podcast, but you keep saying we. So how do you decide where you outsource?
So the first thing I outsource, first of all, I said we. When it was just me.
Oh, okay.
I have said we forever. I don't know why. Like we, I think of it as like me in the community. Now it actually is a we. So I started, my first thing I outsourced was actually repurposing to other channels because I found a overseas VA who was amazing. It was through an agency. I don't recommend the agency anymore, but I do, she's amazing. And the what's it called? The exchange rates make it so at that point I could not afford somebody in the US. And so I worked with somebody out of states. And at first that really freaked me out.
I'm like send me the number.
Her name is Christine. I literally love her. I would recommend the agency. They got kind of weird with their fees and not very transparent.
You wouldn't.
I would not anymore. They got weird with their fees, not transparent. And then through talking to Christine, they raised the rates, which I was totally fine with. I was like, give them a raise. Because at this point, like, I'll go ahead and say, like, I was paying her $4 an hour. And that, I mean, when I heard that the first time, so it was recommended to me, and I was like, Karen,
this feels wrong.
That's like abusive labor. And she was like, Sarah, I need you to get a hold of yourself. It's called exchange rate. Okay. And when I looked it up, it was around like $20 US.
Got it.
And so I went through the agency. So they were giving, they raised their rates. I think they doubled it to $8 an hour, which doubling it was like, okay. But it's still $8 an hour. So it was still feasible. But then I found out, like, not all of that was going to them. And then I found out the people were not getting a raise. The VAs were not getting a raise. The agency was taking all of that. So didn't love that. So we both left. Now we no longer work together. But she's still amazing. That freaked me out. Like, to get that type of VA work, like overseas VA work, at first I was like, no, that's sketchy. It's really not. So that's what I did first, because I was able to afford that and get the reposting, and then I could get the channels. Like, and she also helped with podcast editing, and she also helped with like managing the podcast Instagram, because at this point we didn't have the TikTok. Then when TikTok started doing better, where I could fund a lot more money into the podcast, I brought on a little bit more of a professional editor, Amanda. And then I also brought in a like assistant who Christine is amazing for like task assignment, and then she'll go do it and it's great. But I needed somebody with a little bit more strategy. Like for instance, some of the reposting, like there was a like barrier in the intention, and like the product that I was talking about, I was like, oh, that caption doesn't quite make sense for this. And so there was like misalignment there. And I just also needed somebody to kind of watch my back. Like, hey, you know, the product that you talked about is on Amazon. Like, you should really put it on your storefront. Let's go ahead and link the storefront. Somebody else, like, who had that mindset. And I was like, oh, that's very helpful. Very helpful. So then I brought in Lindsay, who was actually my next door neighbor growing up. So she handles reposting on Pinterest, YouTube, and Instagram for my personal, and then the podcast, she does all of our socials. She posts to TikTok, she posts to YouTube, she posts to Instagram, she posts the podcast. Amanda does the editing, and we have a group chat called Mutual Friends Podcast, and that actually relationship of them being able to talk to each other, I'm like in the group chat, but sometimes like I'm doing something and they'll be handling it. So Amanda's nice. Like, hey, like Lindsay, podcast is up, and Lindsay's like, cool, can you get this? Yep. Got that. Hey, Lindsay, here's the show notes and everything. Cool. Lindsay's like, I got it. And so like they're self-sufficient. And that was really nice. I knew like I had to go from having what I'll call like a task bunny, in that like just more assignment. I needed somebody to take off the work. And then I was able to afford people who had a little bit more intention behind them and had a little bit more skill set, because of like TikTok getting to a place where then I had like, I look at my operation expenses account, like in my business stuff, and I was like, oh, like we've actually got like we've got a little bit of a chunk here that I could be really using to my advantage. And so that's when I brought on like the team, and that's besides like my management, then like I don't pay them. So
yeah.
Wow.
I'm just like thinking, I'm like, I really need you to like come in and structure my finances too. Like,
oh yeah,
the
totally.
Operation expenses account. I'm like, I need all of that.
Oh my gosh, yes. So that I started that really early when I started freelancing. I did that. It's based on the profit first method. So we've got 4 different accounts, an income account. So anytime I get paid, and this really, really helps with multiple streams of income. Anytime I get paid, it all goes into this one account called the income account. The goal for the income account is to be 0. And here's why. Because you've got a tax account, which is where taxes get saved. Operation expenses, which is where I'll pay like my business credit card. That's where that comes out of. I'll pay my team. I'll pay for any memberships I need to be a part of. I paid for the studio through operation expenses. Profit, I don't use profit very much. It's just not very needed. Like, what else am I going to do with that? And then I have owner's pay, which is to pay me. So I think it's 5 accounts. So say like for easy math, it's like 5,000 gets put into the income account. I then go, and I don't have an accountant, so I'm doing this manually, but I'll go.
This is so insane.
I'll go and I'm like, okay, I already have a spreadsheet that has my distributions. Right now, my tax distribution is really high. It's like 40% because we're getting ready for the year, and I wasn't doing a lot in the beginning. And so I've got like, I don't remember the exact like distributions right now. It'll change based on your business, what you want to do. Look up profit first distributions and start with that. But I have like 55% going to owner's pay, 40% going to taxes, maybe 10% going to operation expenses, and like 5 or 15% going to, I don't know what that math is, but like most right now is going to like my pay, and then the taxes to get ready for tax season. And then the income account will be 0. It's distributed, and then I pay myself.
I'm so jealous of your organization with finances. Between everything else going on,
that's like, this year I'm going to have to get an accountant because I have to go, I have to move to an S Corp from an LLC.
Yeah.
I mean, my ass is going to be ripped by these taxes next year, which is a blessing. This is the first year that my income has really, really changed from influencing. Like, that's a great thing. Mm-hmm. So I have to keep saying that. I know that I will pass out when my tax guide tells me how much I have to pay, but you can't retroactively or it was too late to retroactively file as S Corp. So we'll be S Corp next year. And then you have to like pay yourself a salary and you become a technical employee. I was like, fuck that. That's where I'll get an accountant.
This is why I'm terrified to going into working for myself. This is what made me be like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm good with a full-time job because I don't want to I was freelancing and I was dealing with all the invoicing and you're basically a CEO.
You have.
Like, I didn't sign up for this.
Like, you could probably relate to this. Like, I did not have a great relationship with freelancing. And so I don't. When people say I'm freelancing, I'm like, ooh, like, and I love that for you. But when you are not only your sales, you have to go get clients. That's a whole job in itself. You're also the person executing the thing. You're also the person who's having to manage the finances. And then you're strategic. In a company, businesses, they will not have the same person dealing in the weeds with the person looking up at strategy because it is very hard, near impossible to do. And so I'm like, fuck that. It's like such an amazing skill set. And to be a successful freelancer is out of this world. But yeah, it gets to be a lot. So that I'll be getting an accountant right now. Cause right now it's just like,
I think you should
moving money around. And I'm like, like when it comes to like receipts and shit, I'm sure like, I'm not going to be like, I know I got to upload a bunch of shit. I'm going to have to upload a bunch of shit. And I'm like,
okay, this finance talk is really stressing me out. I'm sweating. I'm like, I don't do any of this. Send help.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Oh my God.
Talk about that. But I am like an open book, whatever you need to know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I literally have so many questions for you and strategy and everything, but I like don't need to hijack this.
No, you're totally. This was a very open thing, but I would love to. I honestly want to hear about your engagement. I haven't watched the YouTube video yet, so like I'm fresh.
Oh my God!
From like I just saw the
like you don't know
post.
The story.
Yes, I don't know the story, but I watched the like your little reel. So I have the shortened version, but I don't. I'm going to see all of it.
I like need your help with strategy because I posted a bunch of TikToks.
Okay,
but Ethan got surgery a week ago maybe, and so I've been waiting to do like just like on his sinuses. Like he's fine.
He's fine. Like, oh my God.
Everyone's always like, is he okay? I'm like, worry about me. I've been doing everything.
Ethan got surgery, meaning he's gone and I have no help.
Meaning he's literally laying his ass on the couch and I'm cooking, cleaning, working 3 jobs. Like, worry about me.
Single mom who works 2 jobs.
I'm like, he's fine.
Lots of kids.
Literally. That's my life.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've been wanting to do like story time, how I got engaged on TikTok, but I'm like, I feel like he needs to be there for it.
Yeah.
And there's so many layers. He's finally like feeling.
Or don't. I think I did my like story without Joseph.
Did you do like makeup? Like get ready with me? Like, is that how you did it or you just talked to the camera? I'm like so excited about it that I'm like, I don't know. I kind of want to do a green screen.
Oh my God. Did I even tell people I got engaged on TikTok? Because I remember
the content, so I think you did.
I did? I
knew you were engaged.
Like, we're engaged? Like, I remember talking about it on the podcast. I don't remember.
Maybe you didn't make it like a moment.
No, that would be so me. I'm just like, and they're like, what's that ring? I'm like, oh, hello. By the way.
You probably did.
Yeah, I have to look back. Like I genuinely don't know. But also, I'm so obsessed with myself. I definitely would have made a video.
You definitely did. Just maybe you didn't do a full like 10-minute story time.
Yeah.
So I was waiting for the vlog to go up and I was like, great. When the vlog goes up, I'll at the same time post story times and stuff. But Ethan's been like out of commission and I just like I wanted him there for it because there's so many little details. Like he ended up bringing a ring that I wanted to give him and I like proposed to him. Like there's so many little details that I just need him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a whole story. There's so many layers. So I'm like, I think I might make him tonight do a little green screen moment.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just like, I need it.
I now understand why you'd want him. Like this is so much more complex.
Yeah. Yes. It was a whole thing, but I could give you like the very synopsis. Shortened version. Basically, we've been together 12 years. Our anniversary is 11/11/11. And so on our anniversary, 11/11, we went upstate New York, which is our favorite place ever. And we just like went for the weekend, stayed in an Airbnb. It's like our favorite wholesome thing to do.
Yeah.
And I didn't think he was going to do it because it was too obvious for a ton of reasons.
Yeah.
And he had told me his biggest thing was surprising me. So I was like, it's not going to happen. Yeah. And like, I need to just set myself
psychology.
Up. Yeah. So whatever, we're there. Great wholesome weekend. It's our anniversary. And somehow he got me to book. Or actually, he wasn't going to do it anymore because it was too obvious. But then I happened to fall into his trap. I booked a dinner reservation at this gorgeous hotel. And then I booked a wedding venue tour at the hotel for before because I thought it'd be a cute, fun anniversary thing to do that he tricked me into doing. So I planned the night.
So you're like, I have full control over this.
He like wasn't doing it anymore, but then I planned the dinner and the thing, and he was like, well, this was my original plan, so I need to just like, she literally is stepping into my, so he ended up doing it.
Yeah.
And we went to the wedding venue tour, and the literally like full hour tour, the last stop on the tour was the like reception area, which was a barn. Walked into the barn, and it was like set up with candles and stuff, really gorgeous, but they kept saying there was a wedding there that night. So I didn't know if it was for me. I was very confused when we opened the doors. I was like, is this for a wedding or for me? And then my best friend's a photographer, and there's literally a picture of me looking at her like this because I saw her flash go off, and I was like, and so I walked into this gorgeous barn. I see my best friend with her camera, and I was like, holy shit, he's about to propose. Gets down on one knee, does the whole thing. And see, there's so many layers.
Yeah.
There's a backstory. Basically, I got him a ring for our anniversary, and he opens all my packages because he's OCD. Found the ring, told me he hated it or something. He was like, what is this? Like, I'm not wearing a ring. And I had engraved it with 1111. This was like weeks prior, and I was like, oh, I was maybe going to like hold on to it in case you proposed before our anniversary. I would have given you a ring, but whatever, stupid idea. He ends up bringing the ring with him. Like, is this making sense?
Yes.
I'm like trying to make it so short. Nice. Ends up bringing the ring with him. I like had it in a return pile somewhere. And when he was down on one knee, after I said yes, I was like, wait, can I say something? And he was like, you might want this. And I had the ring.
Oh my God.
So then I got down, not on one knee, on two knees, just to be like eye level.
Yeah.
And I said something nice and gave him a ring.
Oh my God.
So we both gave each other a ring, and we both engraved them with 1111 without realizing. I know. And then
you guys are so symmetrical.
we had I know. And then we had a private dinner after, which was like the most special thing in the entire world. And then he knew I didn't want to have to FaceTime everyone, but I also didn't want a million people popping out saying surprise.
Yeah.
So he set up for the next day. We had our night alone, and then the next day we went to a bar, and like all our friends and family were there. So I like bawled my eyes out.
Oh my God. That's where I start. I didn't cry at the proposal, but I cried when I saw my friends.
Actually, I cried after the proposal. During the proposal, was like giddy, happy, just like so happy, almost laughing. And then after I had a moment, like at the private dinner, it was like romantic. I bawled. And then I bawled when I like hugged my dad.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
So it was like out of a fairy tale. Like it was, I know.
Beautiful story.
And I just sped through that because I feel like there's so many details.
Is this covered? So obviously I'm going to watch the YouTube video. Is this part covered in the YouTube video, or will we need to wait
Sarah,
for
I vlogged the whole weekend. You see me getting ready. The whole weekend.
And this is the best part of being a content creator.
I know. I was like, oh, it's a travel vlog, anniversary.
That's why I want to vlog so effing bad, because I'm so into memories. Like my first vlogging I ever did was my senior trip after high school. And like I did, honestly, like the vlog itself is horrible, but like I vlogged a lot. So I have so many memories. Yeah. And so I literally get to see me as, you know, at that time I was 17. I turned 18 while we were on that trip, and like
it's
just
so
a baby,
nice.
And like looking back at them, like, oh my God, I want to have those memories. I think I vlogged the day I graduated high school. Like,
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you find it more intimate to post on TikTok or YouTube?
Ooh.
YouTube, I feel like, because personally, for YouTube, I will share anything on there because I feel like the only people who are going to watch a full video are like my people. Yeah. Like engaged people. And then TikTok, I'm like, I filmed To Get Ready With Me before the proposal, and I haven't posted it because it just feels, I was getting ready for my anniversary dinner. Yeah. Like I didn't. Yeah. I'm like, are people going to rip this apart and say, oh, she definitely knew and she did it for content? Like TikTok just sometimes feels more vulnerable because you don't know whose hands it's going to land in.
Yeah, I think it totally depends on your platform. My platform is obviously TikTok. Right. I think that if, you know, when I start vlogging on YouTube more and I have more opportunities to be that type of vulnerable, I think I'll feel differently because I agree, like the longer form, it's different. And especially vlogging, like they're going to see like more of my home and like what I'm doing and everything. But the podcast, I share more depth in that, like I'll share like how I break down my finances. Like I'll give the beef behind Panera, like that type of thing.
But it's for the same reason, because no one's going to listen.
Yeah, because I'm like, these are people, but I still like, but TikTok, I'm very, very open. But I think it's also because I feel like a detachment. Like people are like, oh my God, I was talking about Faithlyn still. Like we were talking to like last night, and she was like, you're the only person that could like post about farting after a Brazilian wax and it not be weird. And I'm like, I
love
it's not
that.
like I detach myself from that, but like if somebody came up to me right now that didn't know, be like, oh my God, you're the one that farted during Brazilian wax and it's really loud. I'd be like, yeah, like
see, that's
it is what it is.
I'm okay with.
Yeah, I'll
feel like sharding.
I don't feel like that's personal for me. I'm like, I personally did that, but like it doesn't feel.
No, I'm the same way. I'll talk about. I mean, I literally just did a brand deal about like a vaginal product.
Yeah.
Like I don't care about that.
Yeah,
it's like the intimate, personal life stuff that I'm like, oh, anyone can watch this.
Have you gotten burned before by that? I haven't been burned yet, so I think I have a pretty like naive understanding of it.
Not burned, but it lands in the hands of sometimes even like family members who might be like, is this about me? Where like they're not making it to 25 minutes in the YouTube video.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that is very fair.
It's a fine line. Like they're not listening to the end of my podcast episode.
Yeah.
Where I talk about my anxiety going home for the holidays or whatever. But like if I make a 30-second TikTok.
Yeah, anybody's
this is a
gonna
personal
watch
issue.
That. Yes. No, I 100% what you're saying though. But I haven't gotten I also don't think I've put enough content on YouTube to like feel that type of exposure.
That's fair. Yeah. It's my first platform. It's my baby. And so I also think I love the community on YouTube. No one's watching that long of a video just to like hate on you.
And we need to have a whole separate session about YouTube because it's something that I really love. I grew up as a YouTube kid, and there's like, I think, some sort of, barrier you have to get over when you're still figuring out the production and video, and then you get very comfortable. Yeah. Same barrier with TikTok. Like all of a sudden it's almost like a sweater that didn't fit. And then the day that you get to zip it up, you're like, wow, like this feels really good.
It takes practice.
Yeah. And so I gotta figure that out for myself. I posted a PR haul, but I was like, oh my God, I posted like a horizontal video.
Yay!
This is so great.
Well, because also what people don't realize who don't do YouTube is there's so much on the back end, like the SEO, the tags, making a thumbnail, that's graphic design. You don't have to do that for TikTok.
Yeah.
Like,
there's so
much more that goes into it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot.
It's a beast.
A lot. Oh my God. That's amazing. I'm so excited to hear about okay, I do want to know, but like when you were applying for Dear Media, like what was it like getting the yes?
Well, I was nervous. I thought I was going to have to move to Austin. So I was feeling like 10 different types of ways about it. I don't know what compelled me to apply. I was applying for jobs.
Yeah.
I saw a video creator at Dear Media in Austin, Texas. And
on LinkedIn?
Yeah. And decided, it was like I accidentally didn't put New York in for once. And it came up. This is the shit that's like, okay, it's like kismet.
Yeah.
I just applied. And then I took the interview and they were like, would you be open to relocating? And I was like, sure.
Sure.
And then she told me this is solely for the Skinny Confidential. Like your boss would literally be Taylor, Michael, and Lauren. And my jaw was just on the floor. Like I didn't even realize this was more of a dream job than I realized. Yeah. So I literally looked at Ethan after the interview because I took it in his office and I go, I think I have to move to Austin. I was like,
yeah, you can't.
Literally,
you'd also do so well in Austin if you just did.
Thank you, but like we were highly considering it.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe we could do like part-time here, part-time there. Yeah. Or like I'll have an apartment there. You'll have an apartment here. Like we were thinking everything because at this point it looked like I was getting it.
Yeah.
And then when I ended up getting it, they were like, oh, like they're gonna have a New York office in Dear Media for Dear Media one day. So like you can stay remote. And I was like, wow, amazing. But now I've been, remote editing at my desk at home for over a year, and that gets at you too because
yes, it does.
I enjoy production when they're here in this physical, literally this studio. I love it. I like doing the social strategy before and then coming and filming. And I love production, I've realized.
Yeah.
So just editing at home it makes me a little burnt out because then I want to edit my own stuff too. And it's like I have 7 different things going on at once. But, work is still work.
Yeah.
And I'm learning so much. I literally couldn't think of a more suited job for me. I I'm so excited for them to be in New York.
Yeah. I cannot, though, when you start posting it on their stories and like everything that you're in the studio, I'm just like, oh my God, it looks so fun. And I can feel the joy, and it's so cool to see that.
Because
scene.
I have a bunch of footage from this week from when she was in town. So maybe I'll make some vlogs.
Oh, no, you should. You should. Okay. That's like the best. Like I love, and it's, you can see like you're in your element, and it's interesting to see like what you do, how you do your job. Like that's my curiosity. I think
I'm similar to you in terms of like I feed off of the energy of being up, like doing my job with other people and getting creative. And I love the creative process, which I didn't even realize. I always thought my passion was just hosting and wellness. I love setting up the video and producing it and everything. I don't love as much editing. But so when I feel like I'm in more of like a production mode, even if it's just producing content and TikToks, I do feel so much more in my element. So I'm trying to figure out a way to like bring more of that into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad that translates through a screen.
It absolutely translates.
Okay.
And I feel the same. Like when we're filming for No Good, like it's literally like, you know, it's usually like skits. And so we're like writing this script, and then it's like, okay, we're going to make the thing, and then somebody falls, and it's usually comedy skits. And like, I've never like done anything like that. And it's so fun. And we're in the office and we're screaming. And I was like, okay, you were going to scream like, whoa. And then like literally.
But some people might hate it.
Oh,
do you know what I mean? People would pay.
Don't like it when I'm in office. They're like, they know if I'm in office, like they're going to have to do something weird. And I'm like, fuck this. Like it's so fun.
But some people like hate producing or can't come up with ideas or strategy or whatever. And so I think it's, unless you try out different jobs, even like it doesn't have to be working for yourself or influencing, like try out different jobs, because I was in PR, I was in wellness, I was in celebrity and entertainment. Now I'm in more like of a content and editing role. And if I didn't try out all of these different things, I wouldn't know what my element means.
Everything totally led to this. And even like you being in wellness and like it's so relevant.
And like what would I rather outsource? What do I hate? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think if anyone's out there and they're like, I don't want to be in this job anymore or something like that, like just know, I graduated college 5 years ago. I've lived like 10 lives. Like,
yeah. Oh my God. Like people are like, wait, you were like, I was in pharmaceuticals. I was a research and development chemist. What the fuck?
Like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Like you have so many careers within the first 3 to 5 years of like leaving college. Like,
yes. And you learn something from all of them. Like I'm sure, I mean, you could tell me you didn't, but I'm sure
No, it did. It taught me hard lessons, but yes, I did learn things.
Yeah. And you learn what you do and don't like, and you bring it into the next phase. Like if I never worked in celebrity PR, I wouldn't have carried myself so well when I was planning a shoot with Lauren this week. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Yeah. We could literally talk forever.
I know.
We're going to have to do another podcast.
Okay.
Like we're going to, okay.
And you'll come back on mine in person.
Yes.
If you come back to New York soon.
Oh, yeah. I think I'll be back. I'm seeing January and then almost definitely February. So.
Okay, perfect. So let's plan that. Because
like the cold times. I'm not into it.
Oh, I could tell you what to do while you're here in the cold that will make it seem more magical.
What to wear. That's my problem.
Oh, layers.
Yeah, I didn't know that people actually wear gloves. I only thought dorks did that.
Well, you could just put, I honestly don't. I put my hands in my pocket.
Oh, yeah, I rented a puffer, and so I got...
Yeah, I have literally my jacket's a blanket, so I just put it in there.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
coming on again. For having me.
Guys, do the self-promo, do the plug, all the things.
Don't mind if I do. So you can find me, Jen Lauren, everywhere. Jen_Lauren with 2 N's on Instagram. Jen Lauren on TikTok. Jen Lauren on YouTube. Subscribe. And then also on all those platforms, Dare to Self-Care Podcast. Anywhere you listen to podcasts. We are having relatable, real conversations about wellness. That's it.
Yeah. Love it. Guys, you know what to do. Share everywhere. Follow us everywhere. All the things. I hope you're doing super, super well. This is probably one of my favorite podcasts. It's so fun. And I love being in studio.
That is such a compliment. Are you going to regret saying that?
No, not at all. No, I absolutely mean it. Yeah, guys, I love you very much. You know that all. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.